you and I today. I got the kitchen to myself, the house to myself. Let's make the most perfect lunch for spring and summer. And all the recipes are from my Southern Church cookbooks. So if this is your first time clicking on my video, hello and welcome. My name is Jen, and I started a series here on my channel where I am going through old church cookbooks and just finding those little gems in there and sharing the recipes with you guys. It's been so much fun. I'm loving everything that we've tried so far, and I think today is gonna be no different. So on today's menu, we're gonna make some salmon patties, which I feel like is a true classic in lots of the Southern Church cookbooks, as well as a slaw that is absolutely perfect for spring and summer. It's gonna go really good with these salmon patties, but will also go along with your cookouts coming up. And then lastly, we're gonna make some cheddar biscuits. And y'all, I'll tell you this story about those here in a little bit, but let's go get started on this lunch. All right, first we're gonna get started on all of our sides and fixings to go along with our salmon patties today. And we're gonna start by making the best slaw ever, y'all. I did not mean to rhyme, but it is so good. I seriously have ate this for breakfast before when we've had leftovers. It is just that good. And this is an oldie but a goodie. Like I said, these are classics, but if you haven't tried it, you're missing out. You're gonna wanna make that. You're gonna wanna make this weekend. So first, I just have a pretty large bowl over here, and I'm just gonna add 1 bag of coleslaw mix. I'm pretty sure I've shared this recipe on my channel, but it is too good to not include in this series. Plus, with summer coming up, you gotta have a good coleslaw recipe. And this one's a little bit different too. All right, so next what you're gonna need is 2 packets of ramen. Go in your pantry, pick out whatever's in there, because it ain't gonna matter what the flavor is. And by the way, if you want to, you actually can use one of the packets. I recommend just using one because it can be a lot. But if you're gonna use the flavor packets, get the Oriental flavor ramen. I've done that before and it is actually really good. All right, we're just gonna get these all crushed up. All right, I have them all crushed up. You really don't wanna crush them up too small. You don't want it to be like ramen dust. You wanna have enough to be able to taste in there. All right, so we're just gonna add that to the bowl. Next, I'm just gonna add about 1 cup of sunflower kernels. Of course, these are the peeled, deshelled, whatever they're called. And then next, we're gonna add some sliced almonds. The recipe calls for about 1 cup. I just picked up one of these little packets. They're kind of pricey, and I figured that's probably enough. All right, so we're just gonna give all of this a mix. I know if you've never seen this before, it sounds like a whole bunch of kind of crazy and unique ingredients, but when it comes together with a dressing on it, it is so good. It's so crisp and crunchy and kind of sweet, has a little bit of tang to it. It is just perfect. Now we're working on our dressing for our coleslaw. So I've just added about 1/2 cup of oil. I'm using avocado oil, but you can use anything as long as it's like a flavorless oil. And to that, we're gonna add 1/3 cup of white sugar, and also probably not quite 1/3 cup of white vinegar. You can add more, I just don't like it with a lot. All right, we're gonna add a little pinch of black pepper, a little pinch of salt. Just gonna give this a quick little whisk with a fork. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and pour on that dressing, and you can wait until it's closer to time to eat if you'd like to kind of keep your ramen super crunchy. But personally, I kind of like it to sit at least for a little bit to kind of soften them just a tad so they're not, you know, so super hard. All right, I'm gonna give this a mix. All right, I'm gonna cover this with some plastic wrap, get it in the fridge. I like for it to sit at least a couple hours so it can chill while we make the rest of our stuff. All right, so I figured I would tell y'all the little story about these cheddar biscuits while I'm shredding up the cheese for them. So when I was a little girl, my grandmother, who will be 90 this year, she cooked Sunday dinner every Sunday after church. And I remember sitting in church, y'all, whispering to her, "What are we gonna eat for lunch? What are you cooking for lunch today?" and it was usually one of two things. She was probably either making chicken casserole or she had put a roast in the slow cooker that was cooking away while we were at church. And either way, I was so excited. Y'all, I still remember sitting in church with my stomach growling. Could not wait until we hear that thanks be to God at the end to go home and eat Sunday dinner. That might sound terrible, but that's the truth, y'all. So anyway, along with our chicken casserole and roast, whatever it was, one thing she always made every Sunday were these Cheddar Bay biscuits. And these were probably my favorite part. I probably at least ate 2 or 3 for lunch every time. So we had the Cheddar Bay biscuits on the Lazy Susan in the middle of the table, along with some fresh cut onions. Maybe there were tomatoes too. I don't know, because I don't like tomatoes. But in my eyes, these biscuits were the star of the show. And like I said, my grandmother will be 90 this year, but she is seriously my idol and has been forever. Everybody knows she's the most little fashionable lady. She is the most classy lady that I know. So talented. That's where I think I got all my artistic ability from. Sorry, Mom, I don't mean to count you out there, but she taught me, you know, about decorating and just painting and all kinds of stuff like that. So I just love my grandmother so much. So this is in honor of Grandbob. That's what I grew up calling her. She didn't want me to call her Granny or Grandma or anything like that. She said those sounded too old. So her name is Bobby Faye, and she was Grandbob, still is Grandbob. So these are Grandbob's Cheddar Bay biscuits. I already feel bad for counting my mama out there. My mama taught me a lot too, but you know, something about grandmothers. Y'all know what I'm saying, right? Mom, you know what I'm saying, right? I love you, Mama, too, dang it. By the way, I know a lot of y'all are probably familiar with the little cheese grater. These things really are awesome. I'm not a huge fan of like tons of kitchen gadgets, but I'll say this one is awesome. And this one came from Amazon. I'll link it for y'all below. I've actually tried this one from Amazon and another one from QVC. Y'all know I love me some QVC, but I'll tell you, the one from QVC broke. And this one is still going strong from Amazon, so I'll link it for y'all. All right, so here's the key ingredient for Grandbob's Cheddar Bay biscuits. You gotta get the Southern Biscuit Formula L. It's the complete biscuit mix. I found it at Food Line, but I'm pretty sure Walmart has it too. They had it online when I checked, but it is biscuit mix and it has golden shortening flakes in there. So it's like little buttery flakes. So and the good thing about when you buy this biscuit mix, there is actually a very similar recipe. They call them cheddar drops on the back. Ours is just a little bit different, but I'm sure that one is good too. I'm gonna show y'all the little buttery flakes in here as I make a huge mess. There you go, I hope it's picking that up. You can see those little buttery shortening flakes in there. And I'm telling y'all, if you want an easy Southern biscuit, try this recipe, buy this biscuit mix. All you really have to do is add buttermilk to this mix, and you got yourself a good old traditional Southern biscuit. All right, so we need 3 1/4 cup. That's 1 cup, 2, 3, and 1/4. Now the recipe on the back of the biscuit mix calls for 1/4 cup of shredded cheese, but y'all, that's a little tiny bit. We gotta add more than that. So we're gonna add 1/2 cup, 2 little handfuls. Okay, that's how you measure. We're just gonna stir everything together, just that biscuit mix and the cheese, just to kind of combine it. And I can already tell you the best part of these biscuits is when you get little pieces of cheese on the bottom that kind of get all a little bit crisp. Oh my gosh, so good. Next, you're just gonna add 1 1/2 cups of buttermilk. And then we're gonna stir everything to combine in as least strokes as possible. You do not wanna overmix. I specifically remember those instructions from Grandbob. So just kind of stir, just to kind of coat everything and get it combined. So now using an ice cream scoop, I'm just gonna place the biscuits. These are gonna go in the oven at 450 for about 10 to 12 minutes, just until they look nice and golden brown. All right, while our biscuits in the oven, we're gonna make some garlic butter to drizzle on the top. I just have 1 stick of butter. I'm gonna melt this in the microwave. All right, y'all, I thought my camera was recording like always. Anyway, to my butter, I've just added salt, pepper, garlic powder, and some chopped chives. So I'm just gonna mix this together. Our biscuits only have 2 more minutes and they're looking so fluffy. This is gonna make the biscuits So while I'm thinking about it, you can actually make these biscuits ahead of time if you want to have them after church or for dinner or whenever. You can put them together ahead of time, pop them in the fridge, and then just throw them in the oven. That's what she would do. Every single Sunday, the biscuits would be made. All we had to do is throw them in the oven when we got home from church. And they're so good. They're so good warm. So definitely try that if you're not planning on, you know, cooking right before you eat. All right, they are done. Do y'all see how fluffy these biscuits got? These are seriously the easiest biscuits ever. And honestly, I totally forgot about that biscuit mix. I'm gonna start using that for biscuits. It really doesn't get any easier. All right, but like I said, we cannot forget the garlic butter. Just gonna drizzle over top. I remember doing this when I was little. Y'all, these things, these are so good. These will go with any kind of meal. Comfort food, if you're doing a seafood boil in the summer, you're grilling out, tell me these biscuits won't go with any of that. Let me show y'all the bottoms, how they get that kind of crispiness I was telling you about. These things are the bomb. Y'all, I forgot about these till I was doing this research, and this is worth it. This is why I'm doing this research, y'all. I'm gonna show y'all the middle one after I finish sampling. They taste just like I remember. Y'all, these biscuits, they're gonna have you whispering in church about what's for lunch. All right, let me show y'all the middle. These things get so fluffy. Oh my gosh, did y'all see that cheese? Look at that. These things are so fluffy and airy in the middle. Got that bottom I just showed you. A little bit of crust on top with that garlic butter. I could make a meal off these. Y'all gotta try these. No wonder you can eat 3 or 4 of them. They're so light and fluffy, but delicious. Oh my goodness. So for my salmon patties, I'm actually gonna use these packets of salmon. They're wild caught, of course, skinless and boneless, which that is the whole reason why I'm not using canned. If you know, you know. Of course you can use fresh salmon that you cook and then kind of flake up yourself, but I actually have 3 packages of these, which equal about 15 ounces. So I'm just gonna get this all flaked up into a bowl here. Next to the salmon, I'm just gonna add 2 eggs. I'm gonna add in about a little less than ½ a cup of finely diced red onion. The recipe calls for 1/4 cup of mayonnaise. I'm gonna start with, I don't know, a couple tablespoons, and after I get everything else in here, we'll see if it needs a little bit more. Next, I'm pouring in about 3/4 a cup of panko breadcrumbs. I'm gonna add just a couple dashes of our favorite hot sauce. It's the Cholula. It is so good. And then lastly, you want to use some type of seafood seasoning. I have this seafood seasoning from Auntie No-No's. I've talked about them before. This video is not sponsored, but I know it's gonna work perfectly in here. So I'm probably gonna add a ½ teaspoon. And I will link them below if my code works. I'll put it here on the screen, and I'll put it down below for you to get some money off. You can get these on Amazon. All right, and now we'll just combine everything together. And maybe a little bit more panko. You know, you just gotta eyeball it to whatever looks right to you. All right, so I have a baking sheet here that I lined with some foil, gave it a good spray. Now we're just gonna form these into patties. They are pretty crumbly, so I'm just kind of making patties the best I can and kind of making the patty shape on the pan. And hopefully when they cook, they'll kind of stay together a little bit better. All right, these are going into the oven at 425 for about 15 minutes to start with. All right, you can see they're starting to get browned. I regretted my decision to put them on tinfoil. Some of them stuck back here, but that's okay. I managed to get them mostly off and still looking pretty. So I flipped them and they're going back in the oven for about 5 or 10 minutes. All right, y'all, this looks like a delicious plate if you ask me. Those salmon patties browned up nicely. I just added a couple little garnishes. We got that slaw over here. It is crisp, refreshing, has that crunch from those almonds, sunflower seeds, and ramen. And then of course, those fluffy garlic butter biscuits over here. And homemade tartar sauce. I'll have all these recipes down below for you, as well as the other 3 episodes of my church cookbook series. Make sure you go check those out. you're sure to find some kind of recipe you're gonna love, I promise. Thank you so much for cooking along with me today. I had so much fun. Let me know down in the comments if you think you might try any of these recipes. I will also link all of the other episodes. There's 3 before this one that I've done all about church recipes. There's some good recipes down there, so make sure you go and check those out. Also, make sure you hit that subscribe button before you go, because I don't plan on stopping sharing all of this goodness from these church cookbooks. Anyways, I hope you guys are all doing amazing, and I'll see you really soon in my next video. Bye, y'all.